Hello, my name is Nick Dinsmore, and this is my story, covering my life in professional wrestling, my career. And currently we are in 1998, a pivotal year for Nick Dinsmore in his career. But first, before I get onto my story, please check out the merchandise that you can get for Nick Dinsmore or Eugene at MidwestAllPro.com. And also, I have some items for sale now available on eBay. Hey, got an email. Thank you. Follow me on social media. Follow Midwest All Pro on social media. And let's get into 1998. Ohio Valley Wrestling started their TV at the beginning of 1998 in Jeffersonville, Indiana. I had been wrestling for 2 years at that time. And then April 29th of 1998, I was fortunate enough to wrestle on the very first Brian Pillman Memorial Show, where I wrestled Trailer Park Trash. It was at that show that I met Terry Taylor. Terry Taylor was working for The Office in WCW. And I remember a couple weeks, maybe a month went by. We were doing shows at OVW at the building in Jeffersonville. It was a Sunday night. Somebody sent, Danny went you in the office. You got a message on the phone, the Ohio Valley Wrestling hotline, Danny's office. And it was Terry Taylor saying I was booked for WCW. Oh my gosh. I remember like freaking out and walking out. I was like really nervous. And Rip Rogers had kind of paid me a compliment. He never really paid me a compliment because he was very hard and stern and always telling us, oh my gosh, you guys are doing everything wrong. You're doing this wrong. You know, and I was like, no, you're going to be much better than anybody there. And so it was like, oh, it was a good boost of confidence. So my first trip to WCW, also booked on the trip was Bull Payne from the Louisville area, professional wrestler. So I rode with Bull Payne. Our first trip was, what we got? It was late August 25th, 1998. And I remember it was a Saturday night TV taping. And I wrestled Kaz Hayashi. My very first match in WCW, Kaz Hayashi. And we were in Terre Haute, Indiana. That's right, the Holman Center in Terre Haute. So that's not a far drive from Louisville. Hour and a half, 2 hour drive. And the next night we were in Peoria. So on the next night, the Wednesday night, I remember it was a Thunder taping. I got to do Thunder. I was so excited. And my first match on Thunder was against Juventud Guerrero, and he was a cruiserweight champion. And I was so nervous all day long. It was taped Thunder. And we went out there and we had what must have been just a stinker of a match. It must have been so bad that they ended up not putting it on the Thunder on Thursday night. They played a previous match that Juvi had as the cruiserweight champion. And that match has essentially never been seen. It was a pretty bad match, but I remember at one time Juvi was going to drop kick me in the back. And I didn't feel it. I'm not sure if he fell off the top ropes or he missed me, but then I sold it like he killed me. And it was just like, oh, and cringing. And I don't know what else happened. Something happened. Long story short was I had about 2 years of experience trying to up my game to keep up with one of the best cruiserweights of all time, Juventud. And I was in no way with enough experience to be able to follow him. But nevertheless, my very first Thunder was never seen because the match was the She Is It. All right, so we went on to, I got booked again though. This was in August, throughout August, and WCW Saturday Night Taping, Mobile, Alabama, the Mobile Civic Center versus Evan Courageous. I did a WCW Saturday night. I wrestled Evan Courageous. I've seen like some of these matches on YouTube, and it's always exciting to look back at something that I did at that time. So lean and fit, shit. But then I got booked again for Thunder. I remember this one. So this is the one I called my family. I'm going to be on Thunder early because this one was live. And it was live from Lexington. Lexington's about an hour drive, less than an hour drive from hometown Louisville. So everybody bought tickets. Live, Thunder, from Rupp Arena, Lexington, Kentucky. And I knew I was booked for it. So I get there. There's a buzz around town. People, you know, I was born in Lexington, Kentucky. I grew up in the Louisville, Kentucky area. But I still had family. A lot of friends came from Louisville. Family came down. Everybody packed in there. And the match, I watched it on the network, the WWE network. It was against, well, actually, what happened was I was in the ring, saw people I knew, I got introduced, and then my opponent, I don't know if I got introduced, barely got introduced. My opponent was um, Canyon, right? So Canyon comes down, he just starting to get that heel push, and he comes down and, who is Nick Dinsmore? Who is Nick Dinsmore? He said my name, so it was actually cool for him to, on live TV say my name. But then the issue was between the Flock and Saturn came out and something, and they started fighting. So I just jumped out and ran. So my very first match that everybody came down to see me in, Thursday Night Thunder, WCW, live from the Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky, my hometown, my home away from home. And I didn't even get a match at all. I just ran away. All right, so still got booked for WCW. I did one like full, what I feel like was a full work week from what most of the guys would do. I flew to Boston and I did wrestle on Nitro. The Boston was the Fleet Center, and I wrestled Wrath, and that was September 21st, Boston, Massachusetts. Nitro at the Fleet Center versus Wrath. The very next day, the 22nd, was a Tuesday. We did a WCW Saturday night taping in Amherst. I wrestled Horace Hogan on that one. Horace with the big fucking clubbing forearm to my nose, busting my nose open. But he was a good dude. He was really cool. I was off on Wednesday, and then Thursday was Norfolk, Virginia. Okay, so I wrestled Wrath on Monday. Met him. So when I we left from the Boston area, flying to Norfolk, get in there, and I remember Wrath said, hey, do you want to jump in with me? Okay, cool. And Davey Boy Smith jumps in the car. And growing up, I was a huge fan of the British Bulldogs, and I thought I was so excited. We get to the hotel and I check in, and I think we said, let's work out a bit later or something. And I remember I go upstairs, I'm excited, I put my workout clothes on. We had about an hour and a half, so I was going to run and get something to eat. And there was a Denny's right next to the La Quinta Inn that we stayed in. And I went over there, and Davey was there eating, right? So, oh my gosh, I didn't sit next to him. I sat off to the side, right? So I ate my meal. And then when he got left, all these fans were following him, going like, hey, sign an autograph. And he looks at me and goes, hey, we're going to go work out in an hour, okay? I said, all right. So he walks out, and all the fans look at me, and I'm like, hey, yeah, he acknowledged me. That was actually really cool. And then we went to the gym, and I got to train with those guys. It was a really cool moment in my career because I was still so young. Like these guys that I looked up to, that I'd seen on TV, that were stars, mega stars. Wrath was huge, big guy. Davey was enormous, big muscular guy. And then the next day was Thunder from Norfolk, Virginia, and that's where I wrestled Ernest the Cat Miller. Ernest the Cat Miller. Cat was awesome. He was so talented. Like I just worked with him a little bit then, and then a little bit in OVW when he was there, or in WWE. He came through there. Really super nice guy. Super nice guy. I did Nitro, September 28th, Rochester, New York, Blue Cross Arena, and that's where, I remember this one, right? So we're at Nitro, and I was just happy to be there, excited, shaking everybody's hand, blah, blah. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think the Ultimate Warrior was on this show. And generally, if you were on, when I was on Monday Night Raw, they would have the board up, what we were going to do for the night at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock at the latest. Generally by noon. Everybody knew what was going on, cut and dried. There might be minute changes, but everybody had an idea. That particular WCW Thunder, Nitro, and I only did a handful of them, so that doesn't represent all of them. But the one I was at, they didn't put the board up who was wrestling who till after the show even started. And that's when they started at 8 o'clock, and they were going 3 hours. And I remember they put 6 luchadors out there. Just go out there and have a car crash for 8 minutes. And these guys just went out there and did what they did, and boom, 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 boom. And it was at that point Lenny Lane comes up to me and goes, hey, it's me and you. I said, Lenny, which I'd met Lenny because he was also doing the Saturday night TV tapings, and I talked to him, very friendly guy, nice guy. All right, it's me and you. All right, we can do some cool stuff. What do you want to do? He goes, no. It's not you against I. It's me and you against Steiner. And then there was Scott Steiner come walking through, biggest, strong, enormous, and it was a handicap match. Lenny Lane and Nick Dinsmore against Steiner. And actually, it was very simple. We were out there just to bump and feed and get the shit kicked out of us, and we did. And he didn't take any liberties on me, didn't hurt me. He was physical and was nice enough to me. But if you watch that match, and that match is also on YouTube, he gives us the double Steiner recliner at the end. Power bombs me on top of Lenny, wraps us both up and hooks him up, and you see us selling, and then you see Lenny completely just dead face because he hooked him right under his throat. I don't think he meant to do this. And Lenny, I think he had the hand in there, but then he lost it and just choked him out for about 30 seconds, less than that. Choked him out, and then bing, bing, and then he woke back up. But not many people know that. Lenny got choked out right there. Proceeded on to October, wrestled WCW Saturday Night Taping in Gainesville, Georgia, the Mountain Center. And it was me against Stevie Ray when he was in the NWO, and he had Vincent Virgil, whichever name he had at the time, in his corner. Stevie Ray was super cool, nice with me. He was so big, so tall, and I was like scared to death, but absolute awesome guy. I saw him a couple years later at one of the WrestleCons, and I just shook his hand, and I don't know if he remembered me or not, but he took care of me. It didn't hurt me, and he was like so much bigger than me. Awesome guy. But then when I was on the floor, I remember he hit the finish on me, I think. I rolled to the floor. He's getting his hand raised in the ring. All the cameras are on him in the ring. His hand camera's here. Yeah, he was saying his name. Virgil comes around and kicks me in the fucking ribs as hard as he could, right there. That little bastard. And no camera was on us. Right in the ribs. Ow, it still hurts. Went on into December. I did this WCW Saturday Night TV taping, Palmetto, Florida, and that's where I wrestled Norman Smiley. Norman was so cool, so awesome. I got to coach with him at the Performance Center. Always a nice guy. Did the big wiggle on me, the big slam, the big scooping slam I've never been able to do. Norman's super nice guy. Coors Light. And then in January of '99, I did my last WCW Saturday Night TV tape in Gainesville, Georgia, at the Georgia Mountain Center, and it was a tag match. I wrestled the Armstrong brothers. It was a gentleman from the power plant. The WCW power plant was my partner. I can't remember his name. Sorry. And the Armstrongs were really super cool with me. And I remember I told them I was trained by Danny Davis, and then they're like, "Oh, we're going to do like spots with you." And so they really shined me up and made me look good. And that was in January of '99. So all my '98, I was wrestling at OVW weekly. Every Wednesday night we did TV taping, and then every Sunday was our payoff show at the end of the week. You know, Wednesday night was the TV taping. You know, this Sunday night at the Davis Arena, we're going to do this. So I wrestled at least twice for OVW if we didn't have a live event. With some weekends we didn't have any. Some we had Friday and Saturday, as well as Monday and Tuesday I was doing WCW, as well as I was going to school at the time. Still, I graduated from Indiana, so I was going to school 2 days a week, trying to. I remember. I had to take Spanish to graduate. 4 semesters of Spanish. I really can't speak it, so I'm not going to try. But I was having the luchadors help me with my Spanish homework in the locker room of some of the WCW Nitro events because I needed to have my homework done. So subsequently, at the end of '99, I think Terry Taylor got released from WCW and he was immediately picked up by WWE. And in that time period, I was apparently still being booked for WCW, but I never was contacted because Terry Taylor was my contact. So I had learned years later from some of the guys that were like the New Blood Rising guys that were just kind of coming up, that I was continually on the booking sheets, but they didn't know why I didn't show up anymore, and I was never told. So I think my career could have taken a bit of a turn, a different direction if I would have stayed around, or if I would have known, or if I would have known at all that I was still being booked in WCW. Weird to think I could have been in the first invasion angle when WCW came to WWE, because at that time I was still wrestling in OVW in Louisville. And we'll get into 1999 because that is again a big year. A lot of things happened, but 1998 was super cool. I got to wrestle for WCW when they were like still on top in the ratings war, and I remember standing there on Nitro looking around like, oh my gosh, I'm a dream come true. So Facebook.com, I have a Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, Midwest All Pros Instagram. I love my YouTube channel. I've started a Patreon page, and I think I'm going to put this video being the starting one for our first Patreon. This video is going to go on to there first, and From that, I will follow up in the next week or so with another video claiming 1999. My name is Nick Dinsmore, and this is the Nick Dinsmore YouTube channel. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Arigato. See you at ringside.